Today we're just going to talk about some of the secrets that interviewers don't tell you and secrets that people don't tell you in general when it comes to interviews. The first one that we're going to talk about is they already know who they want to hire, right? I know. It sucks. It sucks that by the time you are going and they talking to you, they already have a person in mind, right? And you just there maybe sometimes for compliance or just to make sure that a certain number of people have been interviewed for the position so that they have a variety to choose from. Yeah, I know it sucks, but that's how it is. But how do we combat this? The best way to combat this is to firstly network, understand and know what's going on within that department or within that company. Just to know. It's not even like you being sneaky or whatever. It's just for you to sort of find out what's going on, and then you are at a better mindset when you're going into the interview. Another thing that you can do is actually ask, is this a replacement or is it a new role? Because if it's a replacement, there's a very high chance that they already have someone who's going to be filling the position. This is what sucks. You might be there interviewing, going through all these interviews, first, second, final, or whatever. And then it gets to the end, you get an email. Sorry, unfortunately, the position has been filled by someone else, what. Whereas you could have avoided all of that by communicating, by networking, and understanding what the role is about. Companies hire for risk more than brilliance. So if you're a really, really good candidate, when it comes to technical stuff, 10 out of 10. When it comes to the way you express yourself, 10 out of 10. But if you are risky, if you are someone who's unreliable, sometimes you're not found for a week, sometimes you AWOL, sometimes like if you're that kind of person, then the company is not going to go for you. Right, and this isn't about, so guys, and this part isn't about going and shashaying the interviewers about who you are. It's all about you being less of a risk to any company. It doesn't matter whether it's a huge firm or whether it's a small company. This is up to you. This is all up to you to make sure that you are a low risk individual, someone who is reliable, someone who a company can depend on, not someone who's just gonna get there for a pack. Guys, apparently some people hop companies just to pull their pension. You get what I mean? So I know that this whole two-pot thing might avoid having a lot of people skip jobs for that, but there are people who skip jobs to get their pension, and those kind of people we don't want to hire. No one wants to hire such people because they're always hopping and they're unreliable. They're just there for the bag. They don't care. They don't provide value whatsoever. So be less of a risk to companies. Another secret is that the manager of the team that you are going to and HR are looking for two completely different things, right? HR is looking for compliance, salary information. They're looking for culture fit. They're looking for all these administrative things. And then you have a manager who's looking at your technical abilities. They're looking at your, basically, how is this person going to assist me and help us achieve our goals, right? That's very important. So because these people are there for different things, ensure that when you're going to address them, you address them with these different things. Ensure that you're going to be less of a headache to the interviewer. Another secret is that your salary matters to them more than they actually admit. Guys, when you are negotiating for a salary, right? Normally they'll ask you, what is your expectation and what are you currently earning, right? Try to keep this information as secret as possible. Let it go on up until the very, very last part of your interview, probably your final interview, and they're like, okay, so what's your salary expectation? Because normally I've noticed that these companies, according to a lot of people, they start asking these questions even before you meet them, before you actually meet up with the interviewers. They're already asking, how much are you expecting? Guys, that question is for the last part of the interview. For your final interview, don't reveal this information before you get to that part. if you get to that part, then you can say, this is my expectations. However, this matters more because employers gauge where you are currently so that they can give you an offer that they already know how much they want to give someone. They have a maximum amount, right? They already know what's their maximum amount, and you have to sort of gauge where they go, gauge whether they want to go for a market thing. And if it's a replacement, there's a high chance that they're actually going to want to match or pay less than what the person was getting, so you need to think about those things. But salary matters a lot. You need to relax a bit and wait until it gets to that point where they're like, okay, so we want to quickly check it's a final interview, how much is your expectation? That's when you deliver the information. You see, me, I wanted 1,000 trillion. But yeah, that conversation can get really awkward, so try to leave it for the last part of the imagine like as your first interview, and then they're like, okay, so what is your salary expectation? This is in your first interview. Let them know that no, at the moment I'm still gauging where this is. I already have a figure in my head. However, you just tell, I already have a figure in my head. However, I'd like to see how this interview goes so that I do not expose what I'm currently earning right now without being sure that there's a direction that I'm taking. I know there are companies that are going to say no to that. But if a company is going to just decide to cut you off because of that, then that's not a good company to work for, my guy. I'm telling you, you're going to have trouble there. You get what I mean? So yeah. And then under number 5, we have confidence matters a little bit more than competence. Confidence, to some extent, matters more than confidence. Why do I say that? I once had a friend who was an HR manager. So he was just talking about his work and whatnot and everything. And then one thing that I picked up from him was that confidence is important. When you go to an interview, you must be confident. If you're showing lack of confidence, number one, it says to the interviewers that you are not sure, you might not be competent. It says a lot of things to... Oh, come on. Oh, I was talking about my body, right? Yeah, so this friend of mine told me that when you show confidence, it shows that you know what you're doing and you're going to be a person who communicates a lot and when it's needed. I know that sucks. You feel like, yeah, no, if I know what I'm doing, then I'm fine. I don't need to impress anyone. I don't need to go overboard or whatnot. But apparently that's what it is. You need to show a lot of confidence when they are hiring. As soon as you step in, you need to show that what you're talking about is something that you know. They judge you quickly. Within the first minute, you've already been judged, right? They look at your posture, they look at how you address everyone, they look at how you greet everyone, they look at how you position yourself. Are you confident or not? It also has to do with number 6, where they're looking at your confidence. As soon as you step in, you're being judged, right? So make sure that when you step into an interview, you become that person who they want to hire. Don't just become like, or sometimes you just coming in like a para, like you just, imagine me right now, just dressed for an interview. Hello everyone, I'm here for an interview. I'd like to become, let's say I was an attorney interviewing for a firm. Hi, hello, my name is Balo. But you can see that this person is not serious, dog. Like, he's dressed in a red hat, dressed in a tee. This person is not serious. So the very first few minutes or seconds rather in an interview, already tell them a little bit about yourself, right? Even if you good, but if you come in dressed like trash, you're gonna have to be really good. Like, you're gonna have to go way above board. This thing just got louder. Culture is code, but this also has to do with you researching and networking to find out what the company is about, right? Don't only go onto their website, also go onto their LinkedIn. If possible, speak to people who work for that company so that you sort of understand what's going on over there. Let's say, for example, it's a creative company where, everything is about art, it's about expressing yourself and all of that. And then whenever you want to go to an interview wearing a very, very formal outfit to go and tell them how you're going to become such a good graphic designer. You're gonna cry, dog. You're gonna cry. So ensure that you find out what the culture fit is, and you can at least go there with a little bit of knowledge as to how to conduct yourself. But culture fit is very, very important, right? And if you feel that it's a culture that you cannot get into, then don't bother going there. Yeah, I know sometimes you just want the bag. If you want the bag, go get the bag, but know you're gonna suffer. But don't force to get into a culture that you're not used to, or a culture that you cannot adapt to. You're gonna have a very long life in fun, a long, hard life, I'm telling you. Tell me about yourself. Okay, you right now watching this, tell me about yourself. I'm gonna give you 10 seconds. Right? That question can be a bit tricky and awkward sometimes, I know. Right? So what you need to do is prepare for this question, right? And this question is actually in this sense of it being a secret, it's a secret in a sense that that question is more of a filter than anything. That question is more of a filter than actually them wanting to know about your history. They already have your CV. They know who you are. They know what you do. Now it's just a filter to check your confidence, to check how you respond, to check your pauses, to check your communication skills, right? So now this question, guys, every single person should know how to answer it, right? You should layer it accordingly. You should, when someone asks you about yourself, just make sure that you have things that you want to talk about, specific things in your head. Write down 4 things that you want to talk about when someone asks about you, right? Normally, let's say you are in, let's say you're in tech, right? Let's say I am an electrical engineer, right? If I'm an electrical engineer and they start the question with, tell me about yourself, I'm not going to dive into my work or rather the details. Hey, tell us a bit about yourself. Show confidence and show that you know what you're talking about. Be calm. Don't think too hard. Hello, my name is Thapelo and I am an electrical engineer. I've been in the industry for about 12 years. I'm someone who's very outgoing. I play cricket on weekends. Also, I do go to the gym sometimes. So I'm a very communicative person. That's as easy as it is. You don't have to go like too deep or whatnot. You don't have to like delve too deep. Just make sure that you have 3-4 things that you want to talk about when you're asked that question. So now let's say you've already delivered who you are, you've told them where you're from, you've told them your history, you've told them what they need to know. Now what you then meet up with is another problem. Now you don't know what to do after you've told them. Oh, me, I'm Thapelo, whoever, I've done this and that. And then now it's awkward because you're now sitting there and they're still watching you, right? So that is also another secret. Silence also tests your pressure. They're trying to check Ugutia. How are you under pressure? That's exactly what it is. How are you under pressure and how do you respond when there's nothing being said? So this is where you have to ensure that when you do your whole, this is who I am. Okay, let's start over with who I am. Good day, everyone. My name is Bongani Mkhize. Good day, everyone. My name is Bongani Mkhize. I am a software engineer. I've been in software for 5 years, and I'm currently working towards a degree for ABC. On weekends, I do a lot of camping. And then, once you've broken down what you need to break down, you need to give them the podium, because now you're done talking about yourself. Instead of it being silent for a second and the silence being on you, you now move the silence to them. All right, this is what I did, this is who I am, this is what. Oh, and then thank you once again for having me. So what you're then doing, you're now shifting the conversation over to them. Now they're the ones who are supposed to ask the questions that they need to ask. Lastly, references are very important in South Africa. South Africans dig deep sometimes. South African companies dig deep. They hit you with the MIE report just to see that these references are real people and these are real phone numbers. But this is towards the last stages. That's why I say don't discuss your salary in the beginning. Discuss your salary much later. So towards the end, they start doing these checks. And your references, they might actually check if this is a real human being. You know, if you say that, hey, that person was my manager and that person is your boy, they might go onto LinkedIn and say, man, this person is actually a junior. They were on the same level. So yes, they work there, but this is not the right person to talk to understand who that person is. You know, so ensure that, guys, your references are on point, and talk to your references to, you know, allow them to I forgot one very important thing. References. Do not put your references in your CV. Do not put your references in your CV. Right? This is just a bonus. I'm just, you know, as much as we say that references are important, I'm telling you that references are important, but do not put it in your CV. Wait for the final interview to give your references. Okay? Because hey, you could screw yourself up very early. Now suddenly they're asking your current manager, hey, I know, wait guys, I know. They don't immediately call before meeting you. However, there is that risk. It's a very, very small risk, but there is that risk where they might call your manager to find out if you actually are employed at that time. Before you get to the final interview, I know it's something that is wrong, something that shouldn't happen, but we've seen it happen before. So avoid that by all means. Avoid putting in references in your CV. Make sure that they're for towards the end of the interview and towards the end of the interview process, right? Hey, but Mzansi is what Mzansi is, guys. Things are hectic right now. There are no jobs. AI is taking people's jobs, and yeah, a lot is going on, but our responsibility is just to make sure that we know what we're doing, right? As much as I'm giving tips where I can give tips and what on things I do know, there's also your responsibility as a person to make sure that you are valuable and you are of value to a point where you can be hired and go be something at a certain company. You know, that's what's important, right? So guys, as I always say, knowledge is a powerful weapon. Arm yourselves, and thanks for watching.